Canada's military forces are ready to meet their commitments should Russia's war in Ukraine spread to NATO countries, but it would be a challenge to launch a larger-scale operation in the long term, with ongoing personnel and equipment shortages, according to Chief of the Defence Staff General Wayne Eyre. Eyre told Joyce Napier on CTV's Question Period in an interview airing Sunday that while the forces in Europe are ready for the tactical mission they've been assigned, he has larger concerns about strategic readiness. He said there's a lack of people and equipment, and further concern around the ability to sustain a larger-scale mission in the longer term. The Canadian Armed Forces are still struggling to retain staff, with nearly 10,000 fewer trained personnel than they'd need to be at full force, and equipment stocks below what they require. We've got challenges in all of those, Eyre said, adding the numbers reflect what's been let slip over decades, as we focused on the more immediate needs. Eyre said Canada's military would be hard-pressed to launch another large-scale operation like it had in Afghanistan, as an example, without having to redistribute its resources around the globe as threats evolve. The military that we have now is going to be increasingly called upon to support Canada and to support Canadian interests, to support our allies overseas, but as well at home, Eyre said, citing Russia's invasion of Ukraine, climate change impacting the landscape in the Arctic, and an increase in digital and cybersecurity threats. It's always a case of prioritization and balancing our deployments around the globe, not just with what, but when, and with who, and getting that balance right is something that we're working on, he said. Could we use more? Yeah, absolutely. But we operate with what we have. We prioritize and balance based on what our allies need, and what the demand signals, just to make sure that we achieve the strategic effect the government wants us to achieve, he also said. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Anita Anand said on CTV's Question Period last week that Canada should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, and balance its NATO commitments with securing the Arctic and promoting peace in the Indo-Pacific. Eyre said his number one priority is getting Canada's armed forces up to full strength, with an attrition rate of 9.3% between both regular and reserve forces, up from 6.9% last year. The Canadian Armed Forces Retention Strategy was released just last month. We are facing the same challenge that every other industry out there is facing in terms of a really tight labor market, Eyre said. Every other military in the West is facing the same challenge. He explained the organization is working on streamlining its recruitment process, among other changes, to meet the increasing need, with the goal to get numbers up as quickly as possible. Ideally, would have been yesterday, he said. We're looking at where we can accelerate the recruiting, the training, and optimizing our training pipeline.